Hello, I'm Cheryl. Of course, that's not my real name. I just find it easier to talk about these things with a pseudonym. A lot of folks believe that someone who's sexually abusive is some creepy old dude with a mustache and has a weird crazed look in his eye. And in reality, most of them actually look pretty normal. You need to be aware. I'm 21 now, and this is my story. Everything started when I was 7. I was coming home from school, and all I could think about was wanting to play on the computer. I remember asking my brother if I could play my favorite Barbie game, the one where you have to put makeup on the Barbie and dress her. He said yes, with one condition. I had to sit on his hand while I played. I never thought about it the wrong way. I was only 7. I was naive, and so I did it. I sat on his hand and I started playing. I could feel him moving his hand up and down very slowly. And then I felt him trying to rub my, I did my best to avoid paying much attention. After all, I was pretty focused on my video game. But it didn't stop there. When I was 9, there was a really bad storm, and there was lightning like every 10 seconds, and I was terrified. My brother and I were home alone, so I asked him to sleep in his room while he was on the computer. My plan was to stay there until Mom and Dad got home and then move to their room. I must have fallen asleep, but I woke up to the feeling of something touching me. I knew it was my brother, but at the time I had no idea if it was normal. I told my mom everything when she got home, and she didn't seem to care. She thought that I was lying. She casually told him to stop doing whatever I said he was doing to me, but he denied everything, and she believed him. When I was 13, I was sleeping in my room, and I woke up and felt something weird touching me under the covers. I moved away. I already knew who it was. My brother kept reaching towards me until I kicked his hand. He stopped and he left my room. He didn't even care that Mom was in the next room over. I had no guts to tell her because of what had happened, or what didn't happen the last time I told her. So he kept doing this to me for the next 2 years. I wanted to just be a normal teenager, to have my first kiss, date somebody, and maybe even have a boyfriend. But I couldn't. I was traumatized. I was terrified of those things thanks to my brother. When I was 15, I decided to tell one of my guy friends. My friend's name was Ray, and he was really supportive, and he told my mom what was happening to me. Apparently, it meant a little bit more coming from somebody else, and my mom, I guess, said she would have a word with my brother. Just a word? The word was probably who cares. I know that's 2 words, but still, I don't think she cared. Because guess what? He denied it all again, and she believed him. I gave up trying. I got a door lock, and I hoped that it would keep him away from me. For a while. But my mom thought that I shouldn't be able to lock my door because maybe I would be, doing something inappropriate with boys. And so she took the lock down, and my brother kept coming back. Literally, Mom, the one thing you're trying to keep me from doing, my brother is doing to me. Finally, one night when he came in, I had the strength to scream, very loudly. I told him to get out, to get the hell away from me. And he did. He ran out of the room like a scared puppy. But, of course, it didn't stop entirely. A year or 2 later, I was taking a nap on the couch when I felt him trying to grab for me again. My heart sank, and I felt so worthless, used, dirty, like a piece of garbage. I'm not going into detail here, but a lot of stuff happened to me that I don't even want to talk about. Anyways, this was too much. I finally went to the police. I could feel the tears falling from my face, and I choked on my words, trying to say, I would like to make a report on a sexual assault. The police officer told me that he was so sorry to hear that this had happened to me and apologized because I guess their computer system was down and so they couldn't do any report. He told me I should go to the next nearest police station immediately, but I don't have a driver's license or a car, so I gave up. I feel like the universe was just saying that he's always going to get away with it. I finally called my godfather, Jim, to meet up, and I told him what happened. Jim was busy at that exact moment when I called, but we met up a few hours later. I told him everything, and he called my mom, and finally, she listened. The talk was really dark and disturbing, and I cried the whole time. That night, my mom confronted my brother. I just shut myself up in my room and tried to ignore everything. But life has pretty much moved forward since then. Nobody ever did anything, and I don't feel safe in my own house. He hasn't tried anything since, but that doesn't mean he's not going to in the future, and I don't know what to do or how to stop him. The only thing that I know is if something is happening like this to you, please speak up. Maybe someone will pay attention to you. We have one more story for you guys. Check it out. I'm about to tell you a story. As I think about it now, it reminds me of those stories that characters in a movie tell right before they show you how they died. Hopefully, this doesn't have the same ending. My life is pretty normal. I'm in my senior year of high school. I have a boyfriend, a good family, and I do pretty well in school, so there's really not much to complain about. My mom is a doctor, and she works crazy hours. Growing up, it was me and my dad a lot, alone, because mom was working. Dad's a tech guy. He tries to explain to me what he does, but after the first mention of bytes or code or whatever, my eyes roll back in my head and I'm fast asleep. Still, we have a lot of good times together, and he's a pretty easygoing guy. Except when it comes to his car. Dad loves his car. I know that there are a lot of people that claim to love their cars, but my dad loves his car. If there was a fire, Dad would run to the garage and drive his car out before even waking us up. That sounds harsh, but the car used to belong to his dad. My grandfather was a car mechanic, and this car was the first car he ever bought. It was a classic back then, and my dad and his dad worked on the car all the time when my dad was growing up. His father died before I was born, so my dad is really emotionally attached to this car. He even wishes the car Happy Father's Day. My mom thinks it's a bit strange, but I think it's kind of sweet. My dad obviously loved his dad, and this car represents his father to him. I get it. When it becomes a problem, though, is when you are in the car with my dad. His road rage at anyone that comes close to the car is insane. He's not an angry man, but he will yell at a little kid that even gets close to the car with sticky fingers. My dad has so many rules about the car as well. No food, no drinks, no sweating, no wet clothes. Your shoes have to be completely clean before getting in the car, and if you even so much think about bringing in a blade of grass with you, you better take it out with you too. Again, I get it. To my dad, this car is his father, so he wants to keep it nice. He keeps telling me that one day the car will be mine, but I don't know if I have the heart to tell him that I don't actually want it. It's really nice, but I never even met my grandfather, so I don't really have the same emotional attachment to it. Not to mention that it's really old, so it's not exactly what I would consider environmentally friendly. Prom was coming up soon, and my boyfriend and I were talking in the living room one day about getting a limo for the prom, or what some of the other kids were doing. My dad said that we could use his car. My boyfriend loves it. He likes all that sort of retro stuff, and he was really into it. I didn't want my dad to drive us to prom, so I said, "Thanks, Dad, but we'll just hire a limo." That's when my dad said something that even shocked my mother. He said, "You can drive it. I don't want to cramp your style." Dad was willing to lend me his prized car. Like, what? He won't even let my mom drive it. There was one time where he cut his hand really badly in the garage, and instead of letting my mom drive him to the hospital in the car, he took a cab. For one, because he didn't want to bleed in the car. And for two, because he didn't want her to drive it. But now he wants to give it to me for prom? I still wasn't really keen on the idea, but my boyfriend begged me with his eyes. So I said yes. The big night came and Dad polished up the car and it looked amazing. He even had the inside professionally cleaned, so it looked like it was brand new. My parents took at least 100 pictures with my boyfriend and me in the car. I wouldn't be surprised if the ones that my dad took cropped us out of the picture so you could just see the car. We drove to prom and Dad made it clear that I was the one to drive it. We got to prom and had a great time. Then the night went bad. We were getting back into the car and it has one of those column gear shifter things. I must have put it in reverse instead of drive and kind of rammed it into a post. The whole world froze. It was like my boyfriend was talking in slow motion underwater, but all I heard him say was, "Oh no, what did you just do?" We got out of the car to check the damage and I had smashed the bumper into a cement post. It was bad. I broke down immediately. How could I have done this? What is my dad going to say? What is he going to do? Is my life over? How do I break it to him? Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and comment below. Let me know what you think. Thanks, guys.